Imagine this. A routine traffic stop takes an unexpected turn, and tension fills the air. In this episode, we meet a determined female officer who faces a driver refusing to hand over their ID. What starts as a calm conversation quickly escalates into a heated standoff, leaving everyone on edge. The officer's patience wears thin as the driver challenges her authority, and the situation spirals into a moment no one saw coming. What's the backstory here? Is the driver within their rights, or are they crossing a line? And how will this intense encounter end? This real-life moment raises questions about authority, personal rights, and the fine line between the two. Stick around as we break down every detail of this unforgettable interaction. You'll see what led to the snap, the emotions at play, and the lesson we can all take away from this clash. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this one unfolds. As the conversation unfolds, the tension between the officer and the driver grows thicker. The driver, calm but firm, repeatedly questions the reason for the stop and insists on knowing their rights. The officer, visibly frustrated, tries to maintain her authority while explaining the legal obligations of the situation. Onlookers passing by slow down, glancing curiously at the scene, sensing that something significant is brewing. What led to this moment? The driver claims they've done nothing wrong, suggesting the stop might be unnecessary or even unfair. Meanwhile, the officer, standing her ground, appears determined to follow protocol, perhaps feeling her authority is being openly tested. The dynamic between them shifts with every exchanged word, building a sense of unpredictability. Questions start swirling. Is this about more than just an ID? Could there be something deeper at play? The tension keeps mounting as both sides refuse to back down, leaving everyone wondering what will happen next. This is one of those moments where you just can't look away. The standoff continues as both the officer and the driver dig deeper into their positions. The driver, now slightly more agitated, questions whether the stop was even lawful in the first place. Their words come out sharp, hinting at past experiences that may have shaped their distrust. The officer, on the other hand, shifts her tone, still professional, but with an edge that reveals growing impatience. She explains her reasoning again, but it's clear that her authority isn't landing the way she expects. Onlookers nearby start recording, their phones capturing every moment as the tension crackles in the air. For them, it's not just another traffic stop, it's a clash that feels personal, almost symbolic. Meanwhile, the officer's radio crackles in the background, a subtle reminder that this situation could escalate further if backup is called. What's really driving this confrontation? Is it a simple misunderstanding, or are deeper frustrations bubbling to the surface? Each passing second feels heavier, and both sides are inching closer to a boiling point. The officer takes a step closer, her stance firm, but her expression showing the weight of the moment. Her voice, though steady, now carries an unmistakable urgency. She issues a final warning, making it clear that compliance is no longer a request but a demand. The driver, gripping the steering wheel, pauses briefly, their eyes darting between the officer and the gathering spectators. It's a charged silence, as if both are calculating their next move. Around them, the world feels like it's holding its breath. The bystanders' recording seem torn between curiosity and concern, their quiet murmurs adding to the tension. The officer's hand hovers near her radio, a subtle but powerful signal that she's ready to escalate the situation if necessary. The driver, now visibly tense, raises their voice, asserting their rights and questioning the fairness of it all. The officer remains unwavering, her training taking over even as the moment feels deeply personal. Both are at a breaking point, and it's clear something is about to give. Just as it seems like the tension can't climb any higher, the officer's radio crackles with a new call, a situation nearby that demands immediate attention. She hesitates for a moment, clearly torn between standing her ground here and responding to the call. The driver catches on, sensing an opportunity, and doubles down. If there's something more important, maybe you should handle that instead of wasting time here, they say, their voice laced with both defiance and frustration. But instead of backing down, the officer steps up. "This is important," she responds, her tone sharp and unyielding. She knows that walking away now could undermine her authority and send the wrong message, not just to this driver but to the growing crowd watching. Her decision to stay feels personal, as though proving a point has become just as critical as resolving the situation. And then, out of nowhere, a bystander steps forward, inserting themselves into the conflict. Their presence adds a new layer of complexity, creating an unpredictable dynamic that no one saw coming. Now the stakes are higher and the tension is palpable. The bystander's sudden involvement shifts the entire dynamic. They step in cautiously but firmly, addressing both the officer and the driver. "Look, I've been recording everything. Maybe we can work this out before it goes any further," they say, their voice steady but tinged with concern. For a moment, it seems like they might defuse the situation. The driver glances at the bystander, their grip on the steering wheel loosening slightly. "I just want to know my rights." That's all they say, their tones softening for the first time. The officer, still standing tall, exhales deeply, visibly trying to weigh her options. Then, in a surprising move, she steps back. She radios in to confirm the new call, then calmly says, "I'll let you off with a warning this time. But remember, this could have ended very differently." The driver nods, clearly relieved, but as they roll up their window and prepare to leave, the bystander calls out, "Wait, did anyone notice the expired tags?" The unexpected twist leaves everyone stunned, including the officer, who's forced to reassess the situation yet again. The officer freezes for a moment, her eyes locking onto the license plate. Sure enough, the tags are expired. She sighs, the weight of the situation hanging heavy, but instead of reigniting the conflict, she waves the driver to pull over to the side. "We're not done just yet," she says, her voice calm but firm. The driver, clearly frustrated but compliant, steps out of the car after a moment's hesitation. The officer explains the situation, pointing out the expired tags, and gives them the opportunity to address it without further penalties if they resolve it promptly. The bystander, sensing the tension ease, takes a step back and quietly resumes filming from a distance, ready to step in again if needed. As the officer hands the driver a written warning, she pauses and says, "Next time, let's both handle this differently." The driver nods, their frustration giving way to a moment of understanding. The scene clears, leaving everyone with something to think about: patience, communication, and how quickly things can escalate when emotions take over.